Hi, in this outdoor shoot with the lovely Tiffany, my aim is to use off-camera flash to get a more dramatic type of photo than I would if I was just using the normal natural light. First of all, please ignore my scruffiness. I've just cut my finger and bled all over my jeans, so never mind. Anyway, the light we have is okay, but on its own we'd only get a kind of average, mediocre type of image. Shooting outside with off-camera flash brings a few more challenges than when we shoot indoors. Now, I talked about it in detail in the exposure introduction to this chapter, so if you haven't watched that already, you really need to stop this video right now and go watch it. Okay, so now I sound like a school teacher, sorry about that, but there is some very important info in that video. Now, when using off-camera flash, live does become a lot easier if you shoot at dusk when the light levels are low. That's what I'm doing now. Even though it looks quite bright, that's because we've opened up the aperture for on the video. But generally speaking, the lights are getting a bit lower now. It's not too bright. I'm going to start by taking a straight shot in the P mode. Just a normal portrait using existing natural light against the sky, so we can compare the images at the end. So let's see what this looks like. I'm shooting with a wide angle lens here. So you can see, look, we've got a great sky, haven't we? Beautiful blue in the sky, but Tiffany is completely underexposed. You can't see her face at all. So now I'll use exposure compensation to brighten up the image. Still in the P mode, and I'll use a +2 exposure compensation. Let's see how this looks. Aim again. Oh! Oh dear. She's still a little bit too dark, isn't she? So I'm going to open it up by another stop. Probably slow down the shutter speed as well, that will. So I think I'll increase the ISO to about, what have I got? I'll make it 640. Try again. So Tiffany's nice and bright now. She's well exposed. But unfortunately, we've now got a white sky. To get started on creating a more dramatic photo, I want to make the image darker and to bring back the colour in the sky. Now, as in previous shoots, I'll use manual mode and I'll set the shutter speed to 2/50th of a second. That's my maximum sync speed. Remember, shutter speed controls the ambient light. It has no effect on the light from the flash. A faster shutter speed cuts out more ambient light, plus it's a more flash-friendly setting because it means I can open up the aperture more. Why is that important? Well, flash exposure is controlled by the aperture. And as I explained in the exposure introduction video, if you use an aperture of, say, f8 or f16 combined with a slower shutter speed, the flash is going to have to work really hard. And even on full power, it probably won't be strong enough. Apertures of around f16 are what I'd have to use in the bright sunshine. It's much better if you can aim for an aperture of, say, f5.6. So that's why we need the fastest shutter speed possible. How about the ISO? Well, the aim is still to cut out the ambient light. So we'll go for the lowest ISO of 100. So there's the first two settings. Maximum shutter speed, lowest ISO. Remember that formula. It's a good starting point. What aperture should I use? Well, that depends on the background. I have to make a decision. Do I want to expose for the foreground area, for the trees in the background, or for the sky? As you saw from the previous compositions, I'm shooting low and using the sky as the main background. So I want to expose for the sky, and also for the brightest part of the sky too. It's just a matter of taking a few shots and adjusting the aperture accordingly. I'll start off at f8. I'll start off at f8, I think, and see how we get on. They're pointing at your face. Yeah. Try it again. Yeah, that looks pretty good, but I think it's just a little bit too dark. So I think we'll go to f5.6 and see how that looks. Remember, we're just checking the exposure really. We're not really ready to start shooting just yet. Yeah, that looks better. Because I'm exposing for the sky, which is the brightest part of the image, anything else in the photo, like buildings or trees, as in this case, will go quite dark. Ideally, I'd like to use an umbrella or a softbox, but they eat up a stop or two of light, so I'll just use a bare flash. It will be a hard light, of course, which is one of the reasons I asked Tiffany to dress a little more grungy looking, as you'll see in a minute, and that will give an edge to the shoot. I probably wouldn't use a hard light had she been wearing, say, a cocktail dress. I want to go for a wider shot as well, which is why the flash is about 6 feet away, which does put the flash under even more pressure. Tiffany's going to take her coat off, get changed, and wear something a bit more appropriate. Tiffany's taken her coat off, and that jacket with the jeans and the boots. That's a great look for this type of shot. The final settings then are 2/50th of a second, f5.6, ISO 100. The flash is about 6 feet away. That's on full power. I'm going to get really low on the ground and shoot up against the sky. And the sky is going to be my background. So let's get down and dirty on the ground then. Here we go. I'm shooting with a wide angle lens. This is a Nikon 1224 f4 lens, and I'm probably at about 15 mil. Now try putting your hands in your jean pockets, or your thumbs in there. That's it, yeah. Couple of close-ups here as well. Get low, and I won't get any ground in them at all. We weren't using any modifiers there, so we got quite a hard light on Tiffany's face. Now that the light levels have dropped even lower, I've put an umbrella on the a shoot-through umbrella on the flash. I've moved the flash in a little bit closer as well. The flash is on a 1/4 power, and I've just checked the exposure. That looks pretty good. Let's see how this looks. So Tiffany, just stand towards me now. Turn a bit more towards me. Yes, that's it, yeah. And maybe just fold your arms. Okay, and now look towards the light. Great, I'm going to get low again, shooting against the sky. Yeah, these look great with a softer light. You can only really start using umbrellas when the light levels start to really drop. I'm editing the video now and realise I forgot to say more about the camera settings, but the light was dropping fast and I forgot. Anyway, notice in this shot how the shutter speed is still at its maximum, but because of lower light levels, I'd raise the ISO and open up the aperture by 1 stop to f4. I'd also brought the light in closer, so those three things combined allowed me to drop the flash power to 1/4. In this next shot, you'll see that the sky is a little bit lighter, but Tiffany is lit the same. That's because I slowed the shutter speed to 1/160th of a second, allowing in more ambient light. Remember, shutter speed has no effect on the light from the flash. Now I'm going to change the mood of the image slightly. My white balance is currently set to flash, you know, the little lightning sign. I'm going to switch the white balance to tungsten. Watch what happens. Let's try that again. So face that way now, hold your arms. Same sort of thing as before. Just take a couple of quick shots. Yeah, everything has turned blue, hasn't it? That's what happens to daylight when you use the tungsten white balance preset. Actually, that is the effect I was looking for. The trouble is, Tiffany has gone a bit blue as well, hasn't she? So now I'll add a couple of CTO gels to the flash to warm her up. That will counter the effect of the tungsten white balance preset and bring her flesh tones back to normal. But everything else lit by ambient light will remain blue. So I'm just going to put a bit of tungsten, a bit of CTO gel on this flash. Okay, we've put the gels on the flash now. There's actually 2 of them together. We've taken so long to do that the light is quite low now. So the settings have changed. I'm only on f4 and the flash is on a 1/4 power. So it's quite close as well. Let's see how this looks now. So I've got the tungsten preset and we've got the gels warming up Tiffany. So let's see how this is going to look. That's great. Put your legs further apart. Look towards the light. Just look at these now. Fantastic. What an effect. Don't you just love photography? I think I got a bit overexcited there. Actually, now that I see them on my computer, you know, I'm not so sure about them. This type of effect works much better when you have clouds in the sky. Anyway, we've got some great images today with a real wow factor. Just remember, this type of shoot is a whole lot easier at dusk, or maybe even in the shade, rather than trying to fight with the very bright ambient light on a sunny day. So thanks very much, Tiffany. Hope you enjoyed the film. See you in the next one. Bye for now.